Hello everyone, welcome to Everyday Prelims series of Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy. So today in this video, let us discuss the topics of 20 and 21st of December 2025. First, starting with the first ICGS Amulya, next about the Hornbills, next about the Operation Hawk Eye Strike, and next about the National Maritime Heritage Complex, and finally Andes Mountains in the South American continent mapping. So coming to our first topic, that is ICGS, Indian Coast Guard Ship Amulya. So yesterday we discussed about the Indian Coast Guard ship Sarthak. Now let's see about the Indian Coast Guard ship Amulya. So why this is in news? Because this is a third in the 8th class series of the new generation Adamya class fast patrol vessels. And this was commissioned in Goa on this 19th of December 2025. So there you can see the picture of this ICGS Amulya. So this Amulya is a fast patrol vessel which belongs to the Indian Coast Guard. And it belongs to the Adamya class fast patrol vessels. Adamya class, new generation Adamya class fast patrol vessels. And this Amulya is the third in the total 8 vessels. So, the Union government has decided to establish or manufacture the 8 vessels of this Adamya class fast patrol vessels. So, out of those 8 vessels, this is the Amulya is the third vessel. So, first and second are the first is the Adamya and next is the Akshar. So these are the first and the second class of this Adamya series. Now Amulya is the third vessel in this Adamya class fast patrol vessel. So it was built by the Goa Shipyard Limited and it was commissioned on 19th of December 2025. And it is going to be based at the Paradip Port, Odisha. It is indigenously built with having the more than 60 components from India. What is the role of this Adamya class Amulya? That is the high speed coastal surveillance as well as the law enforcement. So as these are the fast patrol vessels, this Amulya will look into the coastal surveillance in this port, particularly Paradip Coast, Odisha state. Coming to our second topic, that is hornbills. So why these hornbills are in news? So the forest department of the Tamil Nadu state is going to conduct a survey on this hornbill population during this breeding season, that is from December to March or April. And under this survey, those officials are going to document the 4 hornbill species, particularly the great hornbill, the Malabar grey hornbill, Indian grey hornbill, as well as the Malabar pride hornbill. One more important point regarding this hornbills from this Tamil Nadu state is that in July this 2025 year, the state government has announced the establishment of the country's first center of excellence. Remember, country's first center of excellence for hornbill conservation, where at the Anamalai Tiger Reserve in Coimbatore district. So the Tamil Nadu state government is also going to establish the country's first center of excellence for this hornbill conservation, that too at the Anamalai Tiger Reserve in the Coimbatore district. So coming to the hornbills, these are the large and the distinctive forest birds known for their massive curved beak. So there you can see these have the curved beak, massive curved beak. And these are also known as the farmers of the forest because of their seed dispersal function. These are globally distributed across the tropical Africa, South and the Southeast Asia, as well as the Melanesia. In India, they are distributed in the Western Ghats, Eastern Himalayas, Northeast India, and the Andaman and the Nicobar Islands also. So these hornbill birds prefer tropical evergreen forest, moist deciduous forest, riverine forest, as well as the dense canopy forest. So coming to the diet of this hornbill, they are omnivorous. That means they feed on fruits as well as some insects, small insects. and these are the diurnal, that means they are active during the day. And these hornbills act as the indicator species of the forest health. So by knowing about the population or the status of this hornbill species, we can automatically know the status of the forest in which they are living. This is the general description about the hornbills in total. Now let's see the 4 species which are going to document by this forest department officials in this Tamil Nadu state. So first is that great hornbill. Here you can see this is the great hornbill and it is the largest hornbill species in India. It prefers evergreen and the moist deciduous forest. So this great hornbill is the state bird of Kerala as well as the Arunachal Pradesh. These are distributed not only in India but Bhutan, Nepal, Southeast Asia as well as Sumatra also. See what is the unique feature of this hornbill, great hornbill, that is the prominent yellow casque. Here you can see this is the casque which acts as a helmet to the beak. The prominent yellow casque is the unique feature of this great hornbill. Its IUCN status is vulnerable. Now next one is the Malabar grey hornbill. So here you can see this is the Malabar grey hornbill. It is endemic to the Western Ghats. It is endemic to Western Ghats, very important. It prefers the dense evergreen forest. What is the unique feature of this Malabar grey hornbill? It is a grey body, it has the long tail and it lacks the casque. Here you can see there is no casque present over this Malabar grey hornbill and it is the smallest of the Asian hornbills. So great hornbill is the largest of all the hornbills. This Malabar grey hornbill is the smallest of the Asian hornbills and its IUCN status is also vulnerable. Now coming to a third hornbill species, that is the Indian grey hornbill. So these are mostly widely distributed in India. Mostly widely distributed species, hornbill species is the Indian grey hornbill. That's why the name is Indian grey hornbill. It prefers the open forest, urban forest also, in the urban fringes as well as the plains. See about the casque, it is small or even absent. There is no casque present on this Indian hornbill. And in India it is distributed in the foothills of the Himalayas as well as the Indus fringes and the Gangetic delta. Its IUCN status is least concern. Now coming to our next one, that is the Malabar pied hornbill. This is also known as the lesser pied hornbill. These prefer the riverine forest, wetlands and the forest edges. The unique feature of this Malabar pied or the lesser pied hornbill is that it has the black casque, whereas the great hornbill has the yellow casque. This Malabar pied hornbill has the black casque. And these are distributed across India as well as in Sri Lanka. Its IUCN status is near threatened. Coming to a third topic, that is the Operation Hawk Eye Strike. So this operation was launched in retaliatory measure to the December 13 attacks. So that on December 13, 2025, some ISIS members attacked the US soldiers or other civilians in this Palmyra region of the Syria. So there the 2 US soldiers lost their lives. So in retaliatory attacks or in retaliatory measures, the US has launched this Operation Hawk Eye Strike in the Syria against the ISIS bases. So it is a US-led counter-terrorism military operation against the ISIS targets. So what are the objectives? That is to degrade and destroy all the ISIS capabilities, those fighters, camps and the logistics. And even it also ensures to deter the future attacks on the US as well as the coalition forces. It prevents ISIS resurgence in Syria also. So what is the location of the operation? That is the central and the southern Syria. and also the key ISIS strongholds and the transit zones where these ISIS locations or the camps are present. This Operation Hawkeye strike attacked all these ISIS camps in central and the southern Syria, and along with the US, Jordan also supported. Jordan also participated in this Operation Hawkeye strike. Coming to our fourth topic, that is the National Maritime Heritage Complex. So why this complex is in use? Because the India signed a memorandum of understanding with the Netherlands. The Netherlands for development of this National Maritime Heritage Complex, which is situated in the Lothal, Gujarat state. So let's look into the National Maritime Heritage Complex. So it is a flagship national project of the Government of India designed to establish this complex as a unique world-class destination project where the history as well as the heritage is going to converge. It is located at the Lothal, which is the Indian Indus Valley Civilization site or the Harappan site, dockyard, and presently it is situated in the Ahmedabad district of Gujarat state. It is going to be developed under the Sagarmala program by the nodal ministry of this Ministry of Ports, Shipping and the Waterways. So what is the objective of this National Maritime Heritage Complex? So through this complex, India is going to showcase India's maritime history, heritage and the cultural connections starting from the ancient India to the modern times. How it evolved, how the heritage and the history has evolved from the ancient India, medieval India to the modern India. All the things are going to be showcased through this National Maritime Heritage Complex. Coming to the key components, this complex will have this National Maritime Museum based on the 14 themed galleries. And this complex is also going to establish a 75 meters height, which is the world's tallest lighthouse museum. And there is this one Bagija complex which acts as a gateway for the visitors. And next one, dedicated maritime heritage theme parks also. So in this theme parks, there are going to be 4 dedicated theme parks which are based on the maritime history and the heritage. And next, this complex is also going to have this central large water body. So once constructed and developed, this complex, this National Maritime Heritage Complex will look like this with all the museums, lighthouse, Bagija complex and the heritage theme parks. Now coming to our mapping point, that is the Andes Mountains. Here you can see on the west coast of this South America, these are the Andes Mountains which are spread from the north to the south of South America. So these are the largest continental mountain range in the world with a length or extending up to with a length of about 7,000 kilometers. These run north-south along the western margin of the South America and stretch from Venezuela in the north to the Chile and Argentina in the south. And these are the young fold mountains. These Andes mountains are the young fold mountains which are formed due to the convergent plate boundary, that is the Nazca plate subducted under the South American plate. And it is also part of the circum-Pacific belt of fire which is vulnerable to the volcanic activities. And these Andes mountains pass through 7 countries. So those 7 countries are the Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Chile and Argentina. And these Andes mountains are divided into 3 divisions, with the North Andes in the Venezuela and the Colombia, Central Andes in the Ecuador, Peru and the Bolivia, Southern Andes in the Chile and the Argentina. So these are the 7 countries where these Andes mountains are spread across. Now coming to the important peaks in these Andes mountains, this is the Aconcagua, which is originating in Argentina, and it is the highest peak of South America with the 6,961 meters. And next is the Ojos del Salado. It's spread across the Chile as well as Argentina, and it is the world's highest active volcano. And Chimborazo, it is in Ecuador. Chimborazo is the farthest point from the center, Earth center. And next is the Huascaran, it is in Peru, which is the highest peak in Peru. And next is the Illimani in Bolivia, which is a dominant peak near La Paz. La Paz is the capital of this Bolivia. So these are the important peaks in Andes. Next important rivers in Andes, that is the Amazon River, which is the Atlantic drainage. It flows into the Atlantic drainage and originates from the Peruvian Andes. And next we have your Orinoco River, which also drains into this Atlantic Ocean and it originates in the northern Andes, that is near in the Venezuela. And next we have Magdalena River from Colombia. It drains into the Caribbean Sea. So these are the major rivers from this Andes mountains: Amazon, Orinoco, Magdalena. Next, coming to the deserts associated with this Andes, Atacama Desert in Chile, which is the driest desert in the world. And we also have the Sechura Desert in Peru. And next we have Patagonian Desert in the Argentina. Coming to the important lakes in this Andes region, that is the Lake Titicaca, which we all know, which spread across this Peru and the Bolivia, and it is the highest navigable lake in the world. And next is the Lake Poopó in the Bolivia. It is the shallow saline lake. And next we have the Lake Junin in Peru. It is the high altitude Andean lake. So this Lake Junin is the high altitude Andean lake and Lake Poopó is the shallow saline lake. We know Lake Titicaca is the world's highest navigable lake. That's all for today. Thank you.